Good morning, Philadelphia Eagles fans, and good morning, NFL fans, to Week 12 down here in Philadelphia, where our Philadelphia Eagles are struggling big time and have to play the New York Football Giants in a fight to stay out of the cellar in the NFC East and to remain a level of relevant in the NFC East and keep our playoff hopes alive barely this week. Now, first and foremost, this is Thanksgiving weekend, so I did want to start the video this way because as it seems that we might be disappointed as Philadelphia Eagles fans, there are things to be thankful for. Thankful for the opportunity to play a game. There's plenty of people right now that are fighting for our freedoms across the world. And I'd like to personally say thank you for giving us that opportunity to do so. Also, for being a Philadelphia Eagles fan, thank you, Philadelphia Eagles, for giving us last season. Something that all of us have been waiting for and want to experience at least one time in our life, a Super Bowl victory. So it is time sometimes to sit back and reflect on things that in the past that you're thankful for and that you're able to experience with friends, family, and experiences down here, even at the link and in the city that you love, and for me, Philadelphia. So it's time to sit and reflect just for a second to say thank you for those times. But that being said, as much as I want to continue being thankful for all sorts of great things, let's get down to talking about real football and where we currently are at with our Philadelphia Eagles. I do have to give two shout-outs to New Orleans Saints fans for last week, because last week absolutely sucked for us, but it was a great time for them. First and foremost, Sid May. It seemed like a very awesome New Orleans Saints fan that came to the channel, watched the video, and had nothing but good, respectful comments. And that's what I encourage here. Everybody doesn't have to be an Eagles fan, but if you can state your case and root for your team and give shout-outs, whatever, like, in a respectful manner, post as much as you like here, because that's, in my opinion, what Philly love is all about. Just showing your true colors and not being scared about it, but doing it in a respectful way. So Sid May seemed like a really, really awesome New Orleans Saints fan. I wish you the very best for the rest of the season. I hope we get another shot at you so we can redeem of that horrible 48-7 loss where you were clicking on all cylinders, offense and defense, special teams, and it almost seemed like we couldn't do anything right. I also do have to give a shout out though to another New Orleans Saints fan, Mr. Carter Smith. I do talk about respectful comments, and the guy, I assume it's a guy, the guy said some things, but none of it was disrespectful. All it did was just ooze confidence in what he expected his New Orleans Saints team to do to our team, and he just flat out said the season's over and it's going to be a massacre. I didn't agree. I tried to have a comment saying, hey, look, learn from us and eat a little bit of humble pie, because they never know what can happen. But the fact is, we were absolutely destroyed. It was a massacre, and he didn't say anything disrespectful. So once again, the dude just threw it out there, and it came true. So Sid May and Carter Smith, in my opinion, good New Orleans Saints fans. Please comment as much as you like, the way you did before, and I wish both of you guys the best season coming up. But now, something I didn't think I was going to say a couple weeks ago, we are one game away from being in the cellar of the NFC East, where we play the Giants, where the Giants looked absolutely dead at like, what, 1-7 a couple weeks ago, and now they're sitting one game behind us. And if they beat us here at the link tomorrow, we will be tied with them for last place in the NFC East. And on the flip side, I do have to at least mention it. Yeah, Dallas has been on a winning streak. Hopefully that ends this next week coming up when they play the Saints. But they are now tied, and I think they have the tiebreaker right now against Washington. They are now technically in the lead of the NFC East. I would love to sit here and talk about the New York Football Giants, where they're at, where they're going, Eli Manning, Odell Beckham Jr. But the reality is, we have so much to just fix on our own that we can't sit and worry about anybody else right now. We have to execute some basic things just inside for our team ourselves to even be satisfied with what we're bringing to the table. Before I dive into that, for just us specifically, I do want to give one last shout out. Thanksgiving weekend. This one goes to my buddy Javier. I served with him in the United States Navy, and he's a funny guy. We always pass information and text messages back and forth, especially Eagles-Giants week and on Thanksgiving. So he texted me to start, and he said, "Happy Thanksgiving, my old friend." And I greatly appreciate that. So I said, "Happy Thanksgiving to you too, pal. Good luck this weekend, and go Birds." Of course, I have to add that, and he always knows, no matter where I'm at, no matter where we serve together, there's always a nutcase Eagles fans. I always had to just slide that in there, especially on a Giants-Eagles week. His reply: "The G-Man are going to put another 48 on you Birds. You, Carson Wentz, and Doug Peterson can eat my..." Well, the rest of it doesn't matter. But that's my shout out to my buddy Javier. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. But at the same time, I hope my Eagles can bring it all together in the link tomorrow at 1 o'clock and beat your G-Men. And what do we have to do? It seems so obvious, but it was so glaring against the Saints last week, which just absolutely killed me because this is something that I talked about in last week's video. Where do we start? I'm going to start with offense. I'm not too happy about the offense. I voiced my opinion before, and yes, I am one of those crazy Nick Foles guys, but here, I'm going to give a twist, because I know we're not going to go to Nick Foles. So let's talk in reality. We're going to be with Carson Wentz, and so I want Carson Wentz to learn from Nick Foles. And I want the coaching staff to learn from what they had to do when Nick Foles was in. Flat out, if we believe that Carson Wentz is more talented than Nick Foles, and I believe Carson Wentz has a lot of talent, right? But our team is a little different because we think that he has to do it all because he has that much talent. And that's not the case. If you look at last week on our offense, we flat out did not run the ball enough. I looked at his stats, and Josh Adams picked him up from Notre Dame, had like 7 carries for 52 yards. That's over 7.5 yards per carry. If you told me at the beginning of that game that Josh Adams was going to rush for over 7.5 yards per carry, I was like, wow, that's amazing. He's probably going to rush for like 200 yards or whatever that might be. Like, if you see those numbers, you definitely have to trust that and keep doing it over and over again. I understand when we're down 17 points, you cannot abandon the run, because when you have to commit to the run like that, it forces their defense to commit to guarding against the run, which opens up play-action passing. But when you completely abandon the run, I don't care who's back there, but it looks like Josh Adams is actually doing pretty decent, you gotta keep going to it. Which leads into Carson Wentz being absolutely predictable, being predictable about passing it nonstop all day and ending up with like 3 interceptions and just chucking it deep without, I don't know, being real smart about it, but also going to a security blanket. The Saints didn't do anything super special. All they did was say, hey, look, we know you're going to Zach Ertz, so we're going to double cover him all game. He's going to end up with like 2 receptions or something. So their defense isn't great per se, but they just did what they had to do. And they said, okay, we're going to not even force you to run, to pass the ball, but we know you're going to do it. So we're going to guard against the obvious. And there's going to be people open across the field, but you're going to go to Zach Ertz. So Carson, what you got to learn from Nick Foles is to see the whole field. You got to see the whole field and dump it off to other people and take sometimes a short pass along with the running game and stop killing every single play. Kill. Let me pass the ball. Let me try to put the entire team on my shoulders. That's not what it required. That's not what we wanted, how we won the Super Bowl. Yeah, of course, we played the hot hand, but we won as a team. That's what we need, along with our play calling. Hey, Doug, you got to reel it in. And you got to reel it in the fact that you got to call a little different. I know we're missing Frank Wright right now, and he's doing great over in Indianapolis. You got to call better plays. You got to get Golden Tate in. That's what we traded for this guy. You got to get him involved. You have to watch the running back rotation given out from Deuce Staley. If it's not making sense, you got to step in. You're not necessarily stepping on toes. I mean, you might be a little bit, but you're the head coach. You have to make the hard decision. I know you want to be well liked and you're a player's coach and everything, but at the end, we're able to cheer and root and be so crazy, especially because we won last year. We want to continue that because we know it's possible. So that's the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball just absolutely blew my mind last week. You cannot rush 3 people to Drew Brees and expect for us to do anything except for give up a lot of yards in the air and give up a lot of points. And that's exactly what we did. We're completely decimated at the secondary this week, but oh well, you just have to deal with it. No crying about it. And I actually read a post where somebody says you don't have to worry about the Giants' offense. You gotta be kidding me. They have a guy named Odell Beckham Jr. on the other side. That guy's possibly, easily top 5, if not top 3 wide receiver in the league. As far as skill-wise and what the guy can do. And the guy tortures us every time he plays us, kind of like a Deshaun Jackson-ish. So, our secondary is pretty banged up. And the only way I see for us to truly beat the living mess out of the Giants is you gotta rush Eli Manning. You know that guy gets flustered when you rush him and he starts making bad decisions and stop passing it fast. Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowl rings for a reason. And if you give that guy all the time in the world, that guy's gonna pick you apart too. So you gotta rush the quarterback. We get Tim Jernigan back. Thank you. I hope he makes an impact. The guy is coming off of back surgery. But we got to do something special this week. And we got to play hard-nosed football. Our special teams has to show up there. You got to take the points. And we got to maintain a level of hope. Because, yes, overall I can't stand losing to the Dallas Cowboys a couple weeks ago. But at the same time, I don't want to face friends like my buddy Javier after a loss to the New York Giants. I want the New York Giants to come down here, get beat up, and go back to New York with a season-ending loss. So nothing changes. Yes, we are 4-6. Yes, we look like we're down and out. It doesn't matter to me. I'm thankful for the opportunity that we can continue this season rolling on and do our best to stay not just relevant, but make a comeback in the NFC East and then pull things together just enough time to make the playoffs and be that dangerous team nobody wants to play. So let's give it up as we always do. Let's cheer on our team tomorrow afternoon, and let's come away with a victory and jump back into the seat of the NFC East and get something rolling and do it with a victory against the G-Men. Go Birds, baby! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Beat the Giants!